Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. If you guys watched convention, which I think most of you did, you saw that myra was definitely the star of the show. And I think a lot of you guys got a sneak peek into just her heartfelt experience of leaving her corporate job, right? And going all in with doTERRA. So she's going to be talking to us about one of, I think, the most important topics. There is, let me just, I was going to make you the spotlight, which is treating your business like a business, right? Which is like, I think the majority issue for a lot of people, right? Is like making that commitment to finally say, man, I'm going to treat it like a real business, which most people that go into network marketing absolutely don't. And that's just the truth, right? But if we did, how different our experience would be. So I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to pass it over to myra. So thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for us. We really appreciate it.
It is such a pleasure and honor to be here. And I'm going to excuse myself because it's 9 o'clock for me. I'm normally in bed by 9:30. So if I don't make any sense, just tell me to slow down and to repeat myself. And actually, Melody, I wanted to invite you because, well, first, if you don't mind sharing I do have a presentation I want to share. So if you could make me co-host.
Yeah,
and if you or anyone else feels like you want to jump in and add something at any point, like this time is for you. And my goal with this conversation is for you to really walk away with feeling very comfortable talking about doTERRA as a business, sharing it as a legitimate business that is incredible, an incredible opportunity. And so I would love for this to be more of a conversation than just me talking at you. I want this to be a conversation. Now, I want to give you just a little bit of background. This presentation, I actually was originally in Spanish. I spoke at the Spanish leadership retreat in June, and this was the topic that they assigned to me, but I was a little nervous presenting on this because it's not like a soft, heartfelt presentation. This is like a hardcore, okay, let's look at ourselves in the mirror. And so my first invitation to you is, when I'm talking about this thing, sometimes it's easy to blame other people for what's happening in our business. And I want to invite you, as I'm sharing these thoughts and these ideas, not to look at it like, yeah, if only this girl would do that, or I need to share this presentation with so-and-so because she needs to hear this. I'm going to invite you to really just be humble, right? And to take this as though I'm talking to you, right? This isn't Melly, this is me talking to you, because it starts with us. And so sometimes, it's easy to get frustrated and be like, these people aren't doing what they need to. But what I've discovered at the end of the day is, when we start doing what we need to, we start attracting people that do the same thing. So don't point fingers. This is for you, with lots and lots of love. And I hope that you receive it that way. Okay, so I am going to start. Let me share my computer screen now that I've got you all scared. All right, Melody, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so camino al éxito. This basically just means path to success in Spanish. And this is my family. You got to see my kiddos and my husband. I've got twins. We went to visit.
Oh, actually, we saw the main photo, but now it's black and we don't see
it. No. Okay, let's try this again. Let's see. All right, can you see that?
Yeah, now we can. Perfect.
All right, tell me if you can see the next screen.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, so the importance of treating your business like a business. And as if you saw convention, if you had a chance to hear my speech, I actually come from a corporate background, more than 15 years in the energy industry here in Houston. I've got a master's degree. I'm a CPA. I'm kind of a nerd. I love numbers. I'm going to talk a little bit about math, but not too much. But one of the issues that I had when I started doTERRA is I saw it like a charity. I saw it like, I'm going to help other people. And for me, in my mind, if I was helping people, that meant that I shouldn't get paid for it. So at first I started treating it like I was some sort of teacher, and just went around and I'm inviting you to, maybe some of you see yourselves right in this story, like, oh, I'm just going to teach everyone everything about the oils, but I'm not going to sell to them because that's bad. I'm just going to talk about that. But somehow I figured they would magically figure out to buy it from me or to buy it somewhere, and that would be good. So that's sometimes what we do. We give them all the information, but we don't actually invite them or help them take action. And sometimes we don't even get to the point of giving them information because we're scared that they're not going to receive it well. And so the goal of this presentation is for you to realize that if your purpose is to help as many people as possible, you need to see your business like a business and treat it like a business, because otherwise your charity is going to be limited to a very small group of people. And at the end of the day, if you want to have this massive impact, we need to get organized. Okay. So a question for you as we get started, and I would love to see here in the chat, would you like to be able to live off of and retire off of your doTERRA income? If the answer is yes, just put it in the chat. I want to see how many people actually want to live off of doTERRA's income and retire. Let's see. Yes. I love it. Okay, good. I knew Melody was going to have an awesome team. I think Brianne's got her people here too. Yes. Oh, Erika Garza. That's awesome. I will tell you later what she said. I love it. Okay, good. So the good news is you can totally live off of doTERRA and retire off of this. And so we're going to talk about that. If your answer is yes, it is very important to understand the difference between a hobby, a charity, right, and a business. So what is the difference? A hobby costs money. A hobby costs money. If we treat doTERRA like a hobby, eventually our husband is going to cut us off. He's going to be like, stop, like you're draining us. This is not a good time. If you treat it like a business generates money. And so it's super important to understand that if you want to make money with doTERRA, there have to be certain things that we need to start shifting, starting with the way that we think. It all really starts with our mindset. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how does an entrepreneur think, because at the end of the day, that's what we are, right? We're entrepreneurs. I know that sounds like, whoa, are we kind of like Elon Musk? Guess what? Yeah, in our own way, we're our own Elon Musk of the world. And so back in March of this year, and Melanie knows this guy, his name's Carlos. He's Elise Chedevy's new frontline. He recently made diamond in less than a year. And back in March, I had a chance to meet Carlos. He actually came from a different network marketing company. He'd been on the corporate side. And I was feeling really down, right? I was feeling, I'm a blue diamond, and it happens, guys, right? At every level, this is a hills and valleys type of business. And I was just feeling really down on my business. I was feeling down on myself. And I was just kind of, I had lost my umph. And I told Carlos this, and he said, let me tell you a story. And so he told me this story about Nike. And he said that they were trying to, let's just pretend that it's Nike. They were trying to expand into Africa. And so they had a brand new sales manager come in, and they had someone that'd been with the company for a while. And so they wanted to expand in Africa. So they sent their most experienced, successful sales manager to try to grow the Africa market. And the guy got there, and within 2 hours, he called back to corporate, and he was like, you need to bring me home. This isn't going to work out. People in Africa don't use shoes. Like, they don't use shoes. They're not going to buy. This is a waste of our time. So he came back home, but then the board of directors got together, and they're like, there's just so many people living in Africa. Like, we need to try again. Like, let's send that new guy. He's, a couple of months under his belt. He's doing great. Let's send the new guy. The new guy goes, 2 days go by, haven't heard from him. And then he calls back, and he's like, oh my goodness, this is the best opportunity ever. Everyone here needs shoes. Everyone in Africa needs shoes, right? And so if you think about that mindset of no one here uses shoes versus everyone here needs shoes because they don't use shoes, it made all the difference in how successful that person was going to be. So where the other guy saw a limitation, he saw opportunity. And so what I have seen over the past year and a half, what I'm sure you guys have seen as a team, is that during COVID, there's been like this rift in doTERRA. There's two kinds of people. There's people that saw COVID as something scary. There's all this uncertainty. I don't know what's going to happen with my business. People are going to have disposable income to spend on these oils. And they saw it with fear, like, oh my goodness, this is all going to come crashing down. And then there's another group of people, I'm sure much like yourselves and Melody, because you guys have had lots of success, that saw COVID as a health crisis. And what do we sell, right? What do we sell? We sell health. We sell things that are specifically designed to address the issues that we're facing today as a world, right? And so those people, their volume, their team just shot up. And so this literally, right, Melody, you see this in the diamond group and the blue diamond group where people are like, oh my goodness, this guy's one. And there's people who are like, I'm having the best year. And so I invite you to consider that all of that has to do with the way that people look at what's happening right now. And I think now more than ever, people need sources of income that are diversified. People, a leader on my team said this today, and I loved it. She's like, doTERRA is in the health industry, and the health industry never goes out of style.
Yeah.
We will always need good quality healthcare. We will always need something to help our child with their cough and with their fever and with their mood. Like what we sell is so core. And with what doTERRA just came out with the new products that we launched this year at convention, like these are things that you need in your home, right? You need to be able to clean your house. You need to be able to wash your dishes, wash your laundry. And so I'm going to invite you today to consider what voice in my head, like what has my voice been saying? And if your voice hasn't been positive, then that's not coming from the right source. And so I invite you to catch yourself. And when you hear that negative voice starting to put fear and doubt in your mind, remember what Dave Sterling said, where you have faith, there's no room for fear and doubt. We are absolutely in the right company. We're absolutely selling the right product, and we're absolutely doing it at the right moment in time. doTERRA is a startup. Like we've only been around for 13 years. There's nowhere for us to go but up. And so remember, whenever you're feeling a little negative, like this new friend did for me, whenever I catch myself, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be there's people here don't need shoes. I'm going to be like, everyone needs this. Everyone needs what I have to sell. Any comments on that as we're talking about that? Anything that you want to add where you felt maybe one way and then something that helped you shift?
Yeah, I love that. I can totally see that in myself or in different people's business. I think for me, the entire time, I knew people needed it. I mean, I was literally watching everyone around me freak out, right? And like the first thing was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared of, this bug or whatever it is. And then I want every On Guard product. And then when we got into it more, everyone's like, my anxiety is so bad, I can't deal with life, right? And so you get both of these. And to be honest, it really is the time. And we can say people don't spend money, or people always spend money. And if you can address their problem, they will spend money to fix that in an instant. Like if they truly believed your product could help with their anxiety, oh, I mean, what kind of money wouldn't you spend? If you have had anxiety, right? You would spend any to feel less anxious. So I just really think it is that mindset shift to feel like it. But yeah, so for me, it really just has been looking at those needs. And I feel like no matter what, and in my life too, like if I want something, I'll get it. You know what I mean? No matter what, if it was, when I have lesser money or more money or whatever, it's like if something was really a priority to me, I would make it a priority no matter the cost. And I think that's true. And we just have to realize that and not make decisions for people, but let them make their own decision, right? Let them make their own decision. And if we live with the mindset of, oh, people can't afford this, we've already made the decision for someone else, and that's not fair.
100% agree. And me as a mother of teenagers, it is so sad right now what's happening with our teenagers, how much stress they're under, being like a lot of kids have been locked up for a year and a half. And that's hard as a teenager. So to be able to offer them something that is going to help them with their emotional health, that's priceless. Like I will give up, whatever, buying new shoes, purse, eating out to be able to help my child. And so I 100% agree with you. As long as we are genuinely looking to serve people's needs, like if we come with a servant heart, they're going to feel that, because that's the other thing. My dad's a doctor, and one thing I'm grateful to him that I learned from him, and he taught me early on, when people would say, hey, your clients, he'd always correct them and be like, these aren't my clients, these are my patients. And so hearing him say that so much as I was growing up, even though we're not doctors, in a way, we need to treat our clients as if they were patients. And how do you treat a patient? You treat them with care. You treat them with love. You don't treat them like I'm going to get money out of you, because they can feel that. If you treat them with a sincere desire to help them, they're going to feel that, and they're going to keep coming back because they trust you. And our business is based on trust. So I invite you to look at your prospects and your clients as human beings that you are here to serve. And if you're not doing that already, I'm sure you are, because you're on Melody's team and you're in doTERRA, but maybe to invite your new people to just remember that if you serve, if you come at it with a heart of service, they're going to feel that, and they're going to love everything that you're giving them, and it's going to be easier for them to believe you, right? The second thing I wanted to mention is just from a pure business perspective. Super type A. I've in my life have been laid off twice. My husband is also like a pretty high achiever. He's been laid off 3 times. We've had like amazing, really high corporate jobs. But guess what? It happens when you're in the energy industry. That happens in every industry. That happens. There's, hills and valleys. And so what does that mean for me when people are like, oh, well, a corporate job is safer than something like a network marketing? I'm like, no way. No, it isn't. A corporate job, you lose your income. That's it. You're done. With us, we've got thousands of clients. Like if you do your job and you provide great customer support and customer service, and your clients really understand what they're doing, you're diversified. It gets to the point where you're like, oh, I've got people in Europe now, and I've got people in South America, and I've got people in Mexico. You've got people all over the place, and you've got athletes, and you've got children, and you have, all of these different people with all of these different needs. And so you are so diversified that that's actually way more stable and secure than having a corporate job. So I'm just sharing that with you. So if you ever have felt that fear, I actually feel a lot more stable in my income than I ever did with my corporate job. Okay, another thing, and this was meant to be written in Spanish, so I'll try to put the point across. But in Spanish, you can say oils, or you can say aceititos. Aceititos is almost like a belittling, like, oh, my little oils. Okay, but this is basically, what message does your mind receive if you're saying, I just share oils, or my little oil business, right? If you're making it little, what does your mind think about your business? And if you're going and trying to attract influencers, or people that influencers can be an influencer in your community. It doesn't have to be someone that's big on social media. But if you're trying to attract someone that could be like an amazing team member, if you make it sound like it's something small or insignificant, we can't expect them to take it seriously. Why do I say this? When I was first approached about the oils, it's not the person that I ended up signing up with, but that person talked about like their oil business, and they made it sound like my little thing, like my little side gig. And me, as someone that was making, a hefty 6-figure income, it was like, I don't want to make $500 a month. Like, no offense, but $500 a month was not worth my time. Once the other person actually explained to me the true potential, the real income, that is something that I could actually leave my corporate job and live off of this, I saw it completely differently. I bought in every oil kit. I took it as a real business. So I'm sharing that with you, just as you're thinking about sharing the oils, and everyone has a different avatar, a different target person they want to reach. Make sure that you are confident when you're talking about the oils, and that you realize that even if for you, this might be, maybe there's people on here that might want to do this part-time, or might be super happy just having this be supplemental income, but don't limit, just like you don't want to limit people on going and using the oils, you don't want to limit other people and what the business could be for them. This could be a 6-figure income easily for someone that's willing to work it.
I have a
You want to add
question
something
for
Lily?
you. I know, like,
Yeah.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I know what the answer is, but what would you say to someone who is, in a beginner rank? Maybe they're just starting and they're like, but I am only paying for my oils. I am only, making 100, 200, 500, whatever it is. How do I talk about it when I'm not at a certain level, right? And I know what I did, right, when I first started, and how I talked about it to attract different. But what would you say to your new builders that are just starting? Like, how can they go into it and authentically talk about it, right, in a way, and truly share the opportunity with conviction, right, even though they haven't experienced it quite yet?
I love that. So I'll share what I did and what I do, and then I would love for you to also share what you did and what you do, because obviously it worked for both of us. So when I first started, before I was actually making what I'm making now, and this also has to do with being confident in general. I said, this is what I'm choosing to do because this is where I'm headed, right? So people know that I could, like, my circle of influence knew that I could have had this job or that job or that job. So I'm choosing to spend my time and energy here because I am choosing to grow a residual income. I believe in the product, I believe in the company, and I believe in myself. This is where I'm headed. I would love for you to join me because we could do great things together. But it's kind of with if you want to join, great. But if not, no matter what, I know where I'm headed. Right. And so speaking with that confidence, and if you have been in doTERRA for a while and maybe you haven't reached that rank yet, that's still totally okay. It's just like, maybe you don't have a thyroid problem, but you can say, hey, I've got my friend Myra, she had this thyroid problem and she used frankincense and it healed her nodules and it was amazing. And now she doesn't even have to take medication. So just because you haven't experienced something doesn't mean that someone else can't do it. Right. So I didn't get to presidential diamond in 2 years, but guess what? I have a friend who did. So if I'm talking to a super high achiever, I can say, hey, you know what? My friend Christina, she got to presidential diamond in 2 years. It's amazing. You can totally do that too, because now I not only do I know all of your potential, but I've had 7 years doing this or 5 years doing this. Like, I can share all of my experience, and together we're going to create magic. So whatever you do bring to the table, say, I have this and you have that. And together, along with, Melody, we've got this great team and all the support, we're going to get there quick. I've already made all the mistakes. I'm going to help you save that time. So those are just different ideas of how you can share it. The most important thing, though, is truly for you to believe it. Okay. Because if you are saying something, and here's actually another thing, you can tell, like, I'm pretty, like, I've got a strong personality. So I speak with strength. If you are not like activator achiever, if maybe you're more empathy, or if you're more of a circle, if you know the thing about the circle, the squares, triangle, squiggly, use your personality type, use your strength to convey confidence, right? So maybe if you're, I'm not going to say what an empathy person would say because that's not my strength, but maybe Melody, I don't know. Where's empathy for you?
I don't think well, I don't know if empathy is up at my top one. I mean, I do feel, I need to memorize my top 5 because everyone keeps asking me, and I did finally write them down, but I do relate.
I bet you have communicator.
Relator's one of my top ones. So yeah, but I'm also like, let's get the job done. I guess I'm a mix.
Yeah, that's activator achiever. I knew you had to have, I have activator achiever. But anyway, you have to say it from a way that's authentic to you. Like, if what I'm saying doesn't resonate with the way you normally speak, don't say that, because they're going to feel that. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about creating trust. And top doTERRA leaders have all 34 of the Gallup strengths. So say it in a way where at the end of the day, the person sitting across from you understands that anything is possible with doTERRA and that you're going to be there to help them. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's perfect.
How have you done it, Melody?
Yeah, no. So when, I mean, people had saw that I had gone into business, and my personality is sort of an all in kind of thing. So I mean, I do think that did help me. That was my personality. So when I was reaching people, I do feel like too, people, if they saw that I was putting something all in, that did signal to them like, oh, well, maybe I'm a little intrigued. You know what I mean? Like that. So for me, I used the lady above me story and I sold it, right? Because that's what it was. And I said, yeah, the lady who I went to church with, you know what I mean? Who has 5 kids in homeschools, right? She, she went to Diamond, and I was just like, I have poured my entire life into my bakery business, so much money. And she's making more money than me. And that was very painful for me to have a realization that I was working my butt off, right? And yet somebody else achieved this rank while staying home with their kids, homeschooling with no business experience, and they put no major amount of money into a business, right? And so for me, that was huge. And so I said, like, I knew to myself, like, I could not go for this opportunity. I would regret this, and I wouldn't want to regret it. And there was no major things for me that held me back. Like, I didn't have to put in a ton of money. I didn't have to rent a space. I mean, I really didn't have to have like a degree in it, right? There was none of these things. So for me, it was like, why wouldn't I? If I truly saw this happen, and it was multiple people's life, right? When I saw it, then like, why wouldn't I go for it? And I already loved the product. I had used it. So I knew that. And so it was really like looking at the business opportunity. And I thought I had never grown up. I think they should teach it in high school, but residual income like was not in my terminology, right? I thought the best way to make money was owning your own business. That's what my dad makes a good income, and so I thought like that's the way to do it. And for me, it was just a life like I just felt trapped in all of it. And so, yeah, I use those things to relate to people because whatever situation you're in, and if you're not in business and you don't have a 9 to 5 job, maybe you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm desperate for a community. I love my kids, but I need some space. I need to go give back to somebody else and find some things that I really want to pour my heart into outside of my family life, right? Maybe, you are stuck at a 9 to 5 job that you absolutely hate and you dread every Monday getting there. That story is going to connect with a lot of other people. And so you can share stories of, yeah, as a mom, like, oh my gosh, going and helping someone get started with an oil kit and then working on their family, that lit me up, right? I was able to come back to my family and be a better person because, so depending on what scenario you're in, you can use it. But I think sharing other people's stories are powerful, sharing just your own communities. And it doesn't have to be, oh, this person hit Blue Diamond. Not everyone needs it. Maybe it's like, oh my gosh, I found the best community ever. Like, this has changed my life, right? And some people might make a good amount of money, but they don't have time freedom. They don't have community. They don't feel a purpose, right, in their business. And so, depending on who you are trying to recruit or reach out to join you in the business, you have to sort of key on in what do you think their things are that they want? Because something that worked for you, they could care less about, right? That's maybe not their need. And so you really have to be aware. And sometimes that takes time, right? That's relationship building. And you can't do it in a scarcity mindset as I need it for this month to rank or whatever. It's like, if this is a real person that I want, this is probably going to take me a couple months. Elise Sedevi to get Carlos, who she was talking about, 8 years, right? 8 years the guy took, right? But now he did diamond in a year. So if you're in this long term, you need to be cultivating these relationships. And in the right time, if you stay consistent with your business, they will see that. And that's when they will finally decide to join you, And your business in doTERRA, the exciting thing is it can change like this. If you get 1, 2, 3 people, if you literally got 3 people that actually did the business and treated it like a business, your business would explode beyond more than you can even imagine. But the thing is a lot of people never get 1, 2, 3 people because either they're too scared to tell that person, they don't think they're, whatever it may be. Maybe they're not consistent in their business, or the person's going to look at your business and say, oh, well, you say it's a great business, but you don't do it that much, right? Like, I don't see you work in your business very much, like, so, actions speak louder than words, I feel like. And I think, yeah, getting there and putting in the work and making sacrifices and showing that this is something that, I was talking to some girls yesterday, and it's like, if you knew there was treasure buried in the mountain, you might look like a crazy person buying that mountain for so much money or whatever. And everyone's like, what are you doing? But there is an entire treasure in the mountain, right? And you would do anything. And so it's sort of like that. Sometimes we feel like people are around us are looking at us like, what are you doing? You're doing network marketing. Like, you're doing this. Like, why would you do this? And I got that in the beginning from people for sure. Like, this is not even making sense. And, they don't all need to understand right away. Right. And you have to sometimes put blinders on and literally be like, if anybody is going to be outside of this, I'm putting blinders. And I don't care. I love your opinion. I mean, I love you as a person, but I don't need your opinion in my life right now. And I've had to do that to some pretty important people at certain times in my life where I really felt convicted with what I was doing. So I think that is something that you have to do sometimes.
We're kindred souls, Melody. I'm over here shaking my head. Yes, 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 yes. I had to do that with my dad. My dad is my hero. I absolutely love him. And my dad, as a doctor, was very upset for the first year I sold doTERRA because he saw me as a businesswoman trying to take advantage of people through their health. And so for me, like, the person I admire most in the world, feeling that way about what I was doing when I was actually trying to help people was very painful. And now I actually have a lot of doctors and scientists on my team, and they've come through my dad because in his office, in Spanish consultorio, like in his doctor's office, he has On Guard diffusing all day. He has his nurses make flu bomb roller bottles. He has like diaper rash cream that they make for the babies. So it's amazing, like, completely has converted. And he's brought so many serious people that would never have come and worked with me, but because he believes, now they believe. And so I completely agree. Something else that you said that I think is super important is the conversation you have about the business has to be tailored to the person that you're talking to and their need. So just like when you're selling oils, you have to, who cares if you had a great story about how lavender helped you sleep? If the person doesn't have sleep problems, they don't care. You need to talk to them about what their issue is. It's not about me, it's about them. Same thing with the business. If the person is looking for community, just today I was talking to one of my leaders. She's 48 years old. Her daughters are teenagers, are going to be going off to college soon. And her husband's an ophthalmologist. They do great financially. She doesn't need the time. She doesn't need the money. And she said, my kids are going to go off to college and I want a community. I love what I have in doTERRA. And so, yeah, we need to pay attention to what is going to actually, what people's hearts are yearning, and give them that, because that's the cool thing about doTERRA. We can fill all needs. So, all right. Now we're going to talk about how much your time is worth. And Melly's going to recognize this from a few years ago. Justin Harrison actually at a leadership retreat brought up, if your gold is not even if you're already a gold, if that is your target rank, you need to start seeing yourself as if that's already your worth. And so an hour of your time is worth about $80 if your goal is to be gold. And so once you realize that every hour of your time is worth about $80, you start to pay more attention to how you spend that time. I want to see everyone's faces. Who else realized today that they're completely addicted to social media? I was like, no Facebook, no Instagram, no WhatsApp. I had no idea how many times a day I check. And I was like, oh, this was a good wake-up call. This was a good wake-up call. Because even if you just spend 2 minutes, it's like squirrel, squirrel. Like every time you like go to check something, that's like 5 minutes that you got sidetracked, and that time accumulates. And so if our time is worth $80 an hour, how are we going to spend it? Are we going to spend it surfing social media, or are we going to spend it prospecting leaders? Are we going to spend it designing that beautiful, perfect post? You don't need to. You've got Melody. She's got a beautiful magazine. You don't need to design anything pretty. Are you going to invite people to classes? Are you going to research every single oil, or are you going to schedule wellness consultations? And so my point with this is, and this is something that as you start to grow, I don't know if any of you have fear of success, or if that's something that you've even considered, but as you start to grow, and I'm sure that Melody can relate to this, I have a pretty big YouTube channel in Spanish. And so a lot of people reach out to me, and my goal at the end of the day is to serve others. And so I have found it difficult at points when people are asking me for something and I know the answer, and before you know it, it can be 10 hours of your day is gone in answering all of these questions. And so I have had to decide between good and great. So I can do good things with that 1 hour, or I can do great things. And if there's something that I've already put out on YouTube, or they can easily Google and they're asking me, at that point, I need to trust that those people will go and find the answer. They are not my responsibility. So I'm sharing that with you in case you have this fear, because at some point I realized I have a fear of going Blue Diamond, because how am I going to be able to like take care of all these people, right? And guess what? No, like it gets to the point where you have to, your biggest impact is by investing your time into leaders, right? And so depending on where you're on your doTERRA business, who you're spending time into is very important. So I just want to share that with you in case you have here. Okay, so Paloma has a question. What's your question, Paloma?
No, I was just so right on like spending the time on social media and getting super distracted. I meant to raise my hand, but I agree with you 100%.
We all do it. Today was a wake-up call for everyone, I think. I was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do just a little, I have an accounting background, just a little bit of numbers here. Profit. Profit very simply means the difference between income, which is what you're bringing in, and expenses. And typically, this is all I'm going to talk about numbers, but typically when we think of income, like a business owner, you want to maximize your income and you want to minimize your expenses. Now, when it comes to doTERRA, of course, we want to maximize our income. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we can maximize our income. But when it comes to expenses, it's not just about minimizing expenses, because there are certain expenses that are actually best considered as investments. And there's things that you need to invest so that you can see a return. So what I see sometimes is that people are like, they think that they're being smart by trying to save every penny, but they're not actually investing in their business. And then that's actually limiting their growth. So there's certain things that you need to do. For example, going to convention, going to in-person events, doing certain, Paloma, are you asking a question again, or is this from before?
No, that's probably from before.
Okay,
But we
no
can't
problem.
see your screen. I think I only see you like in the big screen, and I see your slide in the small one. Is that just me or anybody else?
Okay, does everyone see income minus expenses equals profits?
Yeah, I see it in the big screen, but is anyone else opposite? Oh, Rachel's saying yes.
Okay, so I want everyone to see income minus expenses equals profits as like the main thing, because this is super important. So we're going to talk about how to make income bigger, what expenses to spend money, like what expenses are worth it and which ones aren't. And then that's how we're going to maximize profit, because at the end of the day, this is a business. It's not a hobby, and making money is good. So another thing that, remember when we started, that I was talking about how at first I felt guilty. I never felt guilty about making money in the energy world, but at the beginning of doTERRA, I felt guilty of making money from helping people with their health. I felt like that wasn't a pure intention. I had like my own limiting beliefs on money, and I've discovered we all have our own limiting beliefs on different things, but limiting beliefs on money are very common. And so one of the things that I truly believe now, and I've come to learn this precisely from doTERRA and from the owners of doTERRA, is that when good people have money, they can do lots of good in the world. And so the more money good people have, the more good things they do. And money basically just magnifies what we already have inside. If we're bad people and we're jerks and we're criminals, money's just going to enable us to do more bad things. But if we're good people and we want to help others, money is going to enable us to do lots and lots of good things. I have seen so many people, not just the owners, but so many people across doTERRA just do amazing acts of kindness all over the world, from orphanages to adopting, like my upline has adopted 5 children from China. Just so many people doing good things that really impact society in a positive way. We can't feed people from empty shelves, is something that someone said at a leadership, and I love that. Okay, so let's go back to income. How do we grow our income? The first thing that I think is super important for someone that wants to treat doTERRA as a business is to understand the compensation plan. The compensation plan is the rules of the game. If you are telling someone, come and join me in this business opportunity, and you can't explain to them how they're going to make money, how can you expect them to take you seriously? All right. So we need to understand how the compensation plan works, and we need to be able to explain it in a very simple way. There's lots of videos out there. I actually have a YouTube video that I did. My one YouTube video in English is on the compensation plan. You're welcome to go check it out. I'll send it to you, Melody, when we're done. But you need to know how you make money. The second thing that's important when you're growing your income is knowing how to set goals with a set date. Like this is my goal to have this number of enrollments, or to get this number of people in LRP, or to reach this rank, or to get this % retention. And I'm going to do it by this date. Okay. Because if you don't set a date, that's never going to happen. It's so easy in this kind of job. I compare it to being an author, right? Like if you're a writer, you don't have someone on top of you calling you, how many pages did you write today? How many people did you call today? I'm sure Melody isn't calling every day. Like, I don't want to be anyone's mom. That's the first thing I tell people when they decide to work with me. I'm like, this is great. You need to be self-motivated, because I'm not going to be calling you to check up on you. And so you need to be your own accountability partner. It's actually good to have other accountability partners, but it needs to start with you, and you need to have a very clear where you want to go and by when. Another thing is to open the doors of your business. And I'm just going to share this story because this really changed my view on the doTERRA business. I met a girl, I don't know, Melody, if you know her, but she is from Venezuela. She doesn't speak English. Her name is Jessica. Her name's Carlos Cadremi. What's her? Zambrano. Jessica Zambrano. She's actually Christina's upline. Okay, so if you haven't met her, you need to meet her. So this girl moved to the US. They were fleeing from Venezuela. There was a political thing happening with her husband, came with no money. Neither of them speaks English. She was pregnant with her twin babies and he had 2 jobs, and she decided to do the doTERRA business to help like relieve some of his schedule with, having just given birth to twin babies and not speaking the language. She also made it to Blue Diamond in 2 years, 100% on social media. She didn't have enough money to pay her LRP. And so what she did is she took a job like an Amazon delivery girl, and she went around with her 2 little babies with her little orange vest. And that's how she was able to pay her LRP. And so she lived in this apartment with her parents. I think there were like 10 people total living in this little apartment. So to do her classes, she would do it in her bathroom, and she would have to put the phone a certain way so people couldn't tell. Like she would sit on the toilet. She would have to face it so that people couldn't tell that she was in a bathroom. That's how she grew her business. When I hear stories like that, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have no excuses. Like none of us have any excuses. And anyway, she's the one that I'm quoting her, where she says, you have to open the door of your business. And so she starts her month, day 1, by doing her LRP. She runs her LRP the first of the month, because to her, that's literally like opening the door of her business, right? So she leads by example. So everyone on her team, by the 5th of the month, they've already processed their LRP. She has a very clear work schedule. And think about it this way. If I was a spa and I was open once a week from 3 to 5, how can I expect to have clients, right? So I'm not telling you need to work 24/7. I'm telling you the opposite. I'm telling you, you need to figure out what your hours are, and you need to make it clear to other people, because here's the other thing that I see happen. This is a long-term business. So you don't want to get burnt out. If you're one of those people that is like, from the minute you wake up at 7 o'clock until the minute you go to bed at 11 o'clock, you're answering texts and messages and IMs and whatever, guess what? You're going to get burnt out. Like the whole purpose of this business is time freedom. And so having the clear work schedule and letting your team know these are my business hours allows them to also have those healthy boundaries. Like, I don't work on the weekend. I'm sorry. Maybe every once in a while on a Saturday, but Sunday, that's my day for God. Like, you will not get a hold of me. I don't care who you are. And so I think that has not only been healthy for me and my family, having very clear, this is my doTERRA time, this is my me time, this is my family time, but it's been good for my leaders because they're growing up in a really healthy environment where they know, wow, I can have that flexibility now, but when it's doTERRA time, it's really doTERRA time. So when it's doTERRA time, like, no one's coming in here to interrupt me. My kids know this is mom's doTERRA time. So I invite you to set those boundaries, and it can be whatever works for you, but just make sure that it's clear and that you communicate it. The other thing that I find is super important is giving amazing customer service to your client. That doesn't mean, like I said, that you're going to be the 24/7 customer service. We don't need that. They've got doTERRA customer service, but it does mean that you give them at that beginning, that you hold their hand and you make sure that they know how to use their oils. I enrolled this freshman, like valedictorian of her class, freshman from UT. She enrolled 2 weeks ago. She got her kid a week ago. And I thought, this girl, surely by the time we get on our welcome call, on our customer call, I just lost the name in English. Melody, tell me what we call it. Our wellness consultation. By the time we jump on it, I'm like, I'm thinking in Spanish, guys. I told you it's 9:30. My brain's starting to go down.
Dilo en español. Dilo, es una consulta bien.
Erika wants me to say it in Spanish, but but anyway, so by the time you get to that well, so I'm like, she's going to have been using all those oils. Okay, she spent her own money to buy this kit. She'd had the oils for 2 days by the time we got on the wellness consult. She didn't even know how to use a diffuser. She'd only opened 2 of the oils. This is someone that's young. This is someone that's tech savvy. So imagine what your typical customer goes through. Alicia Chevy told us in some training that 50% of people, after they buy their kit, if you don't actually show them how to use it, they're going to put it away and they're never going to grab it again. So make sure that you're having those wellness consultations. That's how you get people to fall in love, and that's how you get them on LRP. The other thing that is so important, you need to let people know this is a business opportunity. I learned this lesson early on. I gave a presentation in my hometown. I was really blessed. There were like 50 people there, and I was super excited talking about the oils. And at the end of it, a guy came up to me and he said, "Hey, I want to do what you do. Like, how could I do that?" And so he thought he was going to be my competition. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, like I need to let people know that this is actually an opportunity that they can join me in, that they don't think, well, if I go into this, kind of like a realtor, right? If you're a realtor and you talk with other people, they're going to feel like if they go into real estate, they're going to be your competition. And here it's the complete opposite. Like we're looking for business partners. So make sure in every interaction you have with people, you let them know this is a business opportunity and that you are always bringing on new business partners. The other thing that's important is for you to understand and to track. We've got these goals that are clear. We've got these completion dates. You need to be able to track your progress towards them so that you can make those tweaks and adjustments. And for that, you need to understand how to use your virtual office. The call I was on before this was actually I'm thinking client representative. Tell me the name, Melody, the people that help us.
You mean like our administrative assistants, like at doTERRA, who help us?
The doTERRA people.
Oh, I mean, I call them just
account manager.
Yeah, that's
told you guys, I'm tired. I'm making it through. We have an account. Okay, so here's a really cool thing. When you get to silver and above, you have an account manager. It's awesome because it's all the red tape. It just helps you cut through it. So we had a call with our account manager. If you haven't done this, because Taylor's ours. That we also have those like regional sales managers. I invite you to learn how to use your virtual office. So here's what he just said, what I wrote down because I thought that was crazy. He said he had this woman from Costa Rica. She had about 50,000 PV in volume monthly. That's more than enough to be a diamond, by the way. She was a silver because she didn't know how to use her virtual office. And so he trained her and trained her. It took like a month and a half and finally she learned. But that is how important understanding your virtual office is. It can be the difference, a $2,000 difference in your check. So she went from making like $1,250 to an extra $2,000 because she got her power of 1,500 and she got to gold simply with the volume that she had by rearranging it, by understanding your virtual office. So please make sure that you understand that. Just another little side note here, as an example of understanding the compensation plan and understanding your virtual office. I got to diamond in a year with 500 people on my team. My diamond upline got to diamond in like 4 years with 5,000 people on her team. So you really want to optimize your time and your effort by understanding the compensation plan in your virtual office. Okay, so we talked about income. Now let's talk about expenses, the difference between an expense and an investment, okay? It's not the same thing. So I actually heard this at church of all places, but I thought that it totally made a lot of sense with what we do at doTERRA. We cannot expect to have a millionaire's experience from a 50-cent investment. So if you want, like what Melody was talking about earlier, going all in, if you want this business to really work for you, you need to invest time and you need to invest money. Otherwise, you're gonna your return's gonna be this much. And so I'm going to invite you to put in the chat what kinds of things you think are worthwhile investments, things that or make sense for you to invest in your business. Let's see what everyone has to say. Product for sampling, yes. Convention, yes. Vendor event fees, welcome kits. I love it. Kits, welcome gifts. Oil labels, literature to grow knowledge, sampling, welcome kits. I love it. Yes, all of these things make sense. Incentives, samples, literature. Yes, everything that's going to help your customer have an essential oil experience and believe it, and everything that's going to help your team training. Yes, it's going to help you learn more. I love it. doTERRA is all about learning. We are an education-based company. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. I love your team. Okay, what do you invest in? And this is straight from the first wellness advocate. This is straight from Justin Harrison. He gave this to us at that leadership retreat and I loved it. This is how he allocates his income. He uses his fast start money for samples and tools, his power of 3 bonus to save up for convention and travel, his leadership bonus to pay off debt, to save trainings, incentives, and more travel. And the level is what he treats as a salary. Melody, what is the biggest chunk of your check?
Yeah, unilevel. I mean, once you get up to higher ranks, you're getting pretty close with the bonuses too. They're getting high for sure, but I mean, the unilevel is always so steady. It's just there consistently. I mean, that's your bread and butter. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people that I've seen take this business serious and maybe they have another job. One of my new builders, she said to me, because she sees the value of investing in your business and she has a current business right now. She said, my entire first year of my business, I'm not even going to look at what I make. It's not even my money. I'm putting every single penny back into my business because she understands that's how she grew her other business, right? And that every penny of investment, and that in any typical business, no one makes money in the first couple of years at all. Most businesses flop within, what is it, like 2 years, 1 year, and even by 5 years, that's typically the time you actually start making any kind of real income, right? And I saw that in my bakery. I mean, seriously, like we put so much investment, right? I mean, so much. But you know, how do you start a bakery? You have to have equipment. You have to rent a place. I mean, there's so many investments. And so that's why when you looking to partner with someone, if they can't pay for their LRP, they're not wanting to do a business, right? This is like the most minimal. This is their own product using for their own family. Like they have to have a bigger vision. Not saying that they can't get there eventually, but that's typically not the kind of person you want to partner on a business with. You want someone that can see the value and is willing to go all in, typically for the success of your business, right? And for me, it's like in the beginning with my bakery, it's like I didn't even care how much money I made. I just wanted the business to be flipping successful. And like, so literally every single hour, all I was focused on how to make the business go, how to make the business go. I knew I would get paid eventually. That wasn't the thing, right? We all need to cover basic costs, right? So literally when I started my bakery, I private tutored in math. That's how I made money, $25 an hour giving private tutoring for math because I could get that. Whereas any other money, it was just like, no, I'm just excited to be getting jobs. I'm just excited. I didn't even almost care if I made a profit, right? As I'm like just growing and getting better clients and better. And so I think when you come into this kind of business with that mindset, you know, you're blown away because you actually do start making money right away. Like that's what actually changed my opinion to actually look at it as a business is I was like, the little amount of effort I put in that first year as a sharer, customer sharer, even though I was doing the business, I guess, but I never went on my back office. I literally was that person I didn't know. I was getting checks in the mail, residual checks, right? I'm like, what is this? And it really got me to thinking, what is this kind of business? But I did, even as a hobby, really go all in because anything that I do, I like going all in. So, yeah, I just feel like you have to realize that in order to get anything, you have to invest time and money. And you have to invest typically, and thankfully with this business, compared to all other businesses, it's such little money. So if you're like, I don't have it, then invest more time. If you have such little money, invest more time and your business will grow just as fast. And if you have a good amount of money, cool. Maybe you could do a little less time, right? It evens it out sometimes. You can hire a virtual assistant or something like that, or someone to package all your stuff. So you're doing less time, but maybe you're paying stuff, you know? And so you can make it work with your lifestyle. If you don't have a lot of time, hire some help. If you have tons of time and no money, do it all yourself. But really it shows in how much you believe in the opportunity, which is how much inconveniences you're willing to handle those first couple years, or even those years where now you're at gold, but you're like, I want to level up. I want to be diamond. Okay, well, we're going to have to change some things up again now to go to diamond, right? So at each kind of rank, new level, new devil, they say, right? Or whatever it is, like you have to change some things and be uncomfortable for a season, right? But when you're at a higher rank, you know that, okay, wow, it actually does pay off, right? And you believe it. So you really do go all in.
100% agree. It's like, I've had business calls where, you know, prospects will be like, well, what if 1 month I don't make my LRP? And I'm like, did you just hear me say that you can make $25,000 a month by investing $150 on products that you're using for yourself? You know, I mean, I don't say it quite like that, but I'm like, okay, let me repeat. You invest 150 on things you're going to buy anyway, but instead of buying them from the grocery store, you buy them from yourself and you can make $25,000 a month. So this is a good point that Melody says when you're talking to people, and right, part of what we do is we help people grow and overcome these limiting beliefs. But if you're trying to grow fast, start with good seed, start with people that already understand and they have that vision of, okay, this is so incredibly cheap. Like the amount of risk reward is crazy. Like what I have to put in for what I can get is tremendous, and that they really see it that way. The other thing that I love that she said was, how time and money are interchangeable. Like if you don't have the money, then talk to more people, invest more time, and you're going to make the money. And the third thing is when you are going out and bringing people in, it is so important that you help them make money right away. she decided to do it. I didn't realize that you started as a hobby, Melody, but she saw that she was making money. So she's like, this is a real thing. So you want to help your people. Don't overload them with lots of information. Help them make those first 3 or 4 enrollments so they get that money in and they're like, whoa, I can do this. Give them that confidence, right? Help them execute. Okay. Let's keep going. So you are welcome to take some pictures of this. I will go through a few of them briefly. I didn't realize that these were, but I'm going to just go through them briefly. This is my summary. You've probably seen something like this floating around, the difference between hobby and a business. This is my take on it. But in summary, it all starts with why. It really does. Like, why are you here? Why do you want to do tarot? You could do anything else. Why are you here? Someone that is doing this as a hobby, they don't really know why they're here. They'll say, oh, I could do this, but now something else comes up that's better, like that, you know, shiny new ball. I'll just go do that, or I'll go do this. People that are in doTERRA that I've seen that make it to the higher ranks, and I've been doing this 7 years. Melody, how long have you been in doTERRA?
So I started as a customer, but sharing actually right away, like 9 years ago. And then about 6-ish, I decided to go all in as a full business.
Cool. So you've probably seen this too. So what I've seen is the people that really last, the people that actually stick and actually have success, they do the things on the right.
Oh yeah.
The people, right? The people that do the things on the left, it's fair. Like if someone wants to treat doTERRA as a hobby, awesome. But my invitation to you is to just be really honest with yourself on what you're doing, because if you want to get the outcome and the result of a business, you're going to want to act like the people that do, you know, that do the things on the right. People that treat as a business, they know exactly why they're here, and they're very clear on what motivates them. This is a business where you have to be self-motivated. No one's going to be chasing you, and you don't want to be chased. The people that treat as a hobby, it's just like, whenever I have time, I'll squeeze it in. The people that treat as a business, like I was talking about earlier, they're very clear on their plan, on their schedule, and on how they prioritize their day. We can fill our day up with all sorts of nonsense, right? There's so many other things that we could be doing instead of doTERRA. So you have to actually make it a priority, and every day say, these are the 2 or 3 things that I absolutely have to get done before the end of the day. It doesn't have to be 10 things. It could be 2 or 3 things, but those incremental, that little 1% every day adds up. A hobby, it's like, oh, it's the 28th of the month. I need to process that LRP order. It's like, no, 150 by the 15th. If you're doing this as a business, you want to make sure that you get that free product of the month, because that's going to give you either more personal experiences with the oils or oils to sample with. Hobby, 1 to 2 events a month or every 3 months. Business, you're on it, 1 to 2 events a week or one-on-ones. Hobby, I'm going to wait to see who of my friends sees that I posted on social media, and maybe one of them will say they want to build with me. Business, you're actively, you know, trying to reach out to people and seeking business partners. Hobby, they listen to trainings, but they never actually implement it. They take lots of notes. They come back from convention with like a binder full of notes. Business understands that you learn as you go. Okay. This business is something that as you go, you're going to figure out, you're going to make mistakes, and then you're going to get better. All right, let's see. The next one is, I'm going to just go ahead and put all of these on the screen. All right. Ouch. Hobby thinks that my success depends on my upline, on her system, on her programs, on how good she is at doing 3-way calls. Business knows that it starts with you. I absolutely adore my upline. She's not really doing the business. She stopped doing the business a while ago. My success has absolutely nothing to do with what my upline's doing. 7 people above me, like the 7 people above me, none of them are doing the business. That has absolutely nothing to do. My business has to do with, starts with me down. That's what my business has to do with. Hobby waits for other people to contact me because they're curious about a class. Business, we actually are inviting people to come to classes or do one-on-ones. Hobby waits until the person says, okay, I'm ready to sign up now. Business, you actually understand that it is your job to follow up. You're the one that's interested because they don't know what they don't know. And we know how to convey the value of the product. Oh, it's so expensive. No, it's not expensive. Let me tell you all the things that you can do with this. Let me tell you how much money and time you're going to save by bringing these oils into your home. Hobby provides poor customer service. Oh, great. I enrolled them. I'm going to move on to the next one. Business understands that the LRP retention is based on wonderful customer service. Your clients actually understanding how to use their products to solve their problems. Hobby allows anything to solve them, any setback. Oh no, I've got a flat tire. I can't do the business for the next 3 weeks because I have to deal with this, whatever. There's always going to be something, right? Someone that runs a business understands that challenges are part of running a business. You're always going to have a new obstacle, and you learn how to become resourceful, how to figure out your own problems. Hobby, they don't go to corporate events. Someone that's doing this as a business, like think about it. If you worked for a company and there was an event for your company, you show up. Like there's no excuse. Like you need to go and get that information. You need to be there. You need to meet the people. You need to understand the new products. Like you need to be there. When you're training as a business, you show up. I'm sorry that I'm like so stern about it, but to me, it's like, what do you mean you're not going? You have to go. And this year, some people had to do it virtually, totally get it, but you have to be there. You have to get that knowledge because your job is to educate. So to be able to educate, you have to be educated. And so in closing, I invite you tonight to reflect on, what do you want doTERRA to be for you? Do you want it to be a hobby, or do you want it to be a business? I hope you want it to be a business, because I would love for you to be super successful. It's such a fun business. And I absolutely love this quote from John Maxwell: dreams don't work unless you do. It's a real job, so we have to work.
I love
Anyway,
it.
I hope I hope that you found that helpful. Oh look, I'm 4 minutes over. Sorry.
No, that was so awesome. I mean, what a great talk. I mean, you took a tough topic and you did it inspiring, right? And you gave us firm, right? We're like good parenting, right? Let's give it to reality people, right? We don't want to like gloss over it, because we want people to be successful, right? And we gloss over it. And especially when we go and get new builders, if we give unrealistic expectations and we go, oh, it's a hobby, you can fit it in. No, nobody wants a hobby like, you know what I mean? Let them use their own, give them free to their friends. Don't invite them to do the business, right? If they want to do the business, let them know how to be successful. And she is such a testament to that, and her team, and so inspiring. Thank you for taking, and seriously, I felt bad asking for her to come on, because I'm like, I know you're busy and your time is so valuable. So I'm going to figure out a way to give back. But everyone, I'm so glad so many of you joined on, and thanking her. She's so grateful to come on late at night. So thank you for taking time from your family and your busy schedule for us. We really appreciate it.
It was such a pleasure. I'm very excited for all of you. You're so blessed to have Melody and Brant as your uplines, and I wish you all the best of luck. God bless you.
And your Instagram, if people want to follow you, can you tell them? I know it,
yeah,
but
well, it's at myra empowers. And if you have Spanish speakers, I have a YouTube channel. Like, this is actually my passion project. There aren't a lot of resources in Spanish. And so I really try to just put as much information out there. I'm about to make a video on the new products so that people can go and find very to the point, short and sweet. I try to make it 3 to 5 minute videos max, so they can just get there and get their information and get out.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. Thank you guys for joining on tonight. We'll see you later.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.